electrical car now, and my cost, my running cost per kilometer is 10 Namibian cents per kilometer, because I generate my own electricity, and I generate for about 50 cents now, because my 4.8 kilowatts have been paid down over time. I installed them bit by bit. I couldn't afford the whole at once. I did it bit by bit. So my estimation is 50 cents per kilowatt hour, and I can drive round about 5 kilometers on 1 kilowatt hour. Meaning, I have also an old Mercedes from 2008. If I drive that Mercedes, it cost me 6 Namibian dollars per kilometer, all included. My electrical vehicle, bought from EV Vehicles, cost me around about $1, maybe a little bit less, however, including tires, insurance, what per kilometer. So I'm saying I save $5 per kilometer. You can figure out how many kilometers you need to drive to save in the new buying price for another car. And that brings us to the next subject of Kobus Viljoen. I take my own example because I know my own figures by heart. I pay between $300 and $500 more every month to be connected to the grid. It would be for me much cheaper to tell City of Windhoek when they come next time to bring their side cutter so they can cut off those 2 wires that connect me to their system, because their system is actually too expensive. There are lots of reasons why that is so, and I don't want to discuss that right now here. But fact is that for many people, it is cheaper now to go solar with a battery and a backup system than to be connected to the grid. And that is the crucial factor we need to deal with. I am not going off the grid because I do not want to promote energy apartheid, because people like me and almost everybody who sits here would be able to organize and to finance an independent energy supply. It's today possible and cheaper. If we do that, we take away our contribution to the grid, and all those people who cannot either invest or organize or do that investment, they would then have to pay exponentially even more to stay in the grid. So my personal policy, and I'm ready to discuss that, is let us try to make the grid better instead of abandoning it. That was my introduction to Mr. Kobus Viljoen, who will give us the last presentation of this session before all the interesting questions and discussions can start. Thank you.
Yes, good morning. As you heard, I'm Kobus Viljoen. We are an electrical contractor company. We are solely Namibian owned. The main product what we do is a Victron product. Why we choose Victron? Victron can be scalable. So we can do from a 3 kilowatt till 3-phase 50 kilowatts as your heart desires. The locals, whether the product is locally supported, we buy our products at Radio Electronics. The service backups, everything is supported by them. The Victron system, typical system for a house, solar panels, installation, everything, it will be more or less 3 to 5 years it's paid for. So with this system, we also can feed back to the grid. We can set it up as a UPS system and off-grid, so as your heart desires it. So we are here at the Expo at the stall. We have some stuff there display. Additional with to get you more energy efficient, we also do the gas geysers. We do the Delta product alongside with a company from South Africa, Gas Warehouse. So there we can sort your heating, gas stoves, everything what you need for heating, and then also your light for your house so that you can run as you wish. Thank you.
So thank you to all the presenters, and thank you for the growing number of spectators or participants we have. We are very happy to have you here. And now it's I was about to say hour, but it's not an hour. But it's maybe 15, 20 minutes and a few. We have to discuss with Karen. She's very strict. So anyway, we hope that we have provoked some thoughts and questions and possible controversies, whatever. Who makes the start? No. There's an old African, very good old African thing, and that's for true. In old kutas, you had one magical piece of wood, and only the person who had that wood was allowed to talk. Nobody else. Now, in modern times, this has been replaced with something like this.
Harald, a very good morning to you. That's how we do it. Okay, great. Thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to come back to that electricity bill that you shared, Mo. I believe in that $808 consumption figure, you also have your household usage, your washing machine, your coffee maker, all that stuff. Okay, great.
Yeah, so true. Everything is included. And I think what's interesting, and Kobus mentioned it as well, the system is grid connected. So I have a consumption of 800, but I get a credit of 200 because during the day when I don't consume much, I feed back into the grid. And this is where Harald also said, this is where the big opportunity is, because systems like mine can be a good backup in the system. It just needs to be smart. And companies like Tesla, for example, have pioneered this in Australia in big ways, where you don't need to put down massive big batteries and some finance company needs to put in billions. It's if everybody in the neighborhood has a system like ours, and they're grid connected and they're smart and they talk to each other, we can support the grid in a big way. So if there's a power out and one line goes down to South Africa or whatever, we provide power. And the other big step is that the cars can do that as well. Very many modern cars are built what we call vehicle to grid. So the car battery can actually be used to power the house and feed into the grid. And it can be done in a smart way. So in modern cars, the car will actually look at my calendar, see I don't have a meeting next day, so I'm working from home. Then it will drain the battery down to 20% because it knows I'm not using it. And I can actually make money out of that because I'm supplying power during peak times, which means we don't need peaker plants like gas plants, which are really expensive to run. So there's a huge wave of these new techs coming. We just need to put our stuff in such a way that we are ready for it.
Can I just quickly add? Too many people, some against electric cars, ask where is all the electricity coming from? And it's actually not very much. In Germany, where you have almost 55 million sedan cars, it would mean electricity-wise that the electricity consumption, if all these cars would be electric, would only 15% up. And since it's gradually, it's just absorbed. And like you said, the cars can be a distributed storage to the grid and solve part of the storage problem.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is all already here. This system that cars can be related to the grid is already here. Go to the UN house, make an appointment. They have two things standing in the cellar that look like petrol pump stations, but actually they are charging stations. And they have a computer program which coordinates the consumption of the house, and I think they have a 30 or 32 kilowatt system, 100, on the roof, and the batteries of the car. Meaning if I'm employed there and I want to use one of the cars tomorrow to go to somewhere, I say I need 60 kilometers tomorrow, and then the car will be charged enough for maybe 80 or 100 kilometers, but for the rest of the time, the electricity is put in the car and taken out of the battery of the car if needed. Now, the crucial point here is that we are discussing, is electricity something that comes top down with a capital P, or can we democratize electricity? And for that, figures play a very important role. Let me give you two figures. I have a net metering system, meaning I can, from my house today in Namibia, feed back into the grid. They credit me $1.24 for every kilowatt hour that I feed back in the grid, with the limitation that I cannot feed back more within 1 year, from 1st of July to 30th of June, than I have consumed. Now, when I consume, it costs me roughly $3 per kilowatt hour. It varies a little bit because the basic charge and the consumption make the price go a little bit up and down. So it's actually in figures between $2.75 to $3 per kilowatt hour that I pay. What I'm demanding, and I have used opportunities to demand that also to those people who make the decisions, that they would pay us, I mean all of us who have such a system that can feed back into the grid, they would pay us the same amount of money per kilowatt hour that they use to buy imported electricity. Anybody having an idea how much Namibia as a country spends to import ready-made kilowatt hours? Any proposals? Not from you. Anybody else? It is 5 billion Namibian dollars. Our new national budget is just over 100 billion. If you reduce the services for debt, then it is even under 100 billion. Meaning 5 billion Namibian dollars, roughly 5% of the national budget every year, are spent to be sent to South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique to buy ready-made electricity. Now imagine 5 billion Namibian dollars would circulate from one of your pocket to that pocket, from that pocket to that pocket. Our children would forget how to spell that word poverty. Poverty? We don't know what that is. What I'm saying is Namibia lives very much in a very old way, structurally, how to organize our economy and our energy, which is a crucial part. And we could do much better. Big question is, why don't we? Okay, other questions? Coming second.
So I have so many questions. First of all, for the lady, the stove that you just showed, how safe is it, for instance, to use in a shack, in a township, inside of a house, smoking wise and so on?
Well, we have built our stoves in a safer way that it doesn't cause house fires. And it's also environmental friendly. Like you can also touch the outside part because it doesn't heat up when you use it. No, it doesn't have any side effects. Yes.
It does smoke a little bit when you start. But once it's running,
Imo, there's only somebody who has this magic stick who can speak.
I watched the demonstration of the stove, and I really recommend that you go at the stand and they will show you. It does smoke a little bit when it starts up, but after that it's smoke-free. It burns cleanly like you have a gas stove at home. So like normal natural gas.
Thank you very much for that, Karen. Okay, Karen, and then yourself.
I have a question to Imo and Ferris, and that's about how you bring the light systems to remote villages. Because we have a farm in the north of Namibia, Ovamboland, and the workers there probably would benefit from your system, but they almost never come to town. So they probably wouldn't know about the system, first, and second, they wouldn't be able to pay for it, depending on where they are able to pay. So just can you explain more how you reach those remote people?
First of all, we do have agents all over, and we have outlets in the villages also. So we go around every gathering in the villages, we are there. So we are like almost up to date with what is happening in the villages. So we are reaching out to everyone. So believe me, I'll tell you that we are all over. All the 13 regions, 14. We do have outlets. We communicate through the headmen, the pastors, the community leaders. So we go through them, and then they are aware of us. And then whenever they have gathering, they notify us, and then we visit them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can maybe just add to that. One of the key reasons why this works is that we don't need technical installers. Everybody can just put this up by themselves. So you can buy it and you can bring it deep into your village and you set it up yourself. So we have many old ladies setting it up themselves. We actually have videos from that. Ladies can't read a manual or anything, but they know how to set this up. In terms of logistics, we use a lot public transport. So taxis that run all over. And every village has a taxi running maybe once a week. In some places like Urupembe and these places, it will be only once a month. But then our agent will collect a lot of payments from different customers, bring them to town, make the payments at the machine, and then the tokens get sent via SMS or to the agent, and then the agent takes the SMSs back deep into the village. So even if people are, 5-6 hours from the next town, they can still use the system. So it's not grid connected or SMS, Wi-Fi connected, anything. GSM connected. It's dumb. It doesn't know the internet exists.
And there are also farmers who take the service. Just bring it there, and then the workers can use it from the side of the farmers.
Thank you for the stick. My question to the panel, and I think it's probably already been addressed by the young lady. We know that a lot of energy is used in our households, and not just modern households, any households, for heating and cooling. What new options are out there that are less dependent on the public grid? For example, the siphon or siphon systems for heating water, cooling systems to cool things down without using electricity from manpower.
Thank you. Anybody would like to answer that one first?
Yes, so you do get smaller systems on the solar side. It depends on how much power you use. You can put the aircon, the TV, fridge, freezer, some lights. So typical 5 kilowatt depends on how long the lights will be at night. But that stuff can be worked out and spec according to each individual needs.
But that's very true. And then but you need to have a battery pack, which is still expensive. There are other products on the market. For example, a fridge that is directly solar powered. It doesn't have a battery. It doesn't have a compressor. It just stores heat energy and has this conversion from heat to cold, just running directly from solar. There's if you visit my stand, I'm now importing products from Germany that are pay-as-you-go, like we have with the keypad, solar water pumps for boreholes. So I can reach villages that wouldn't otherwise get financing for a borehole. We have a direct solar power machine, so there's a motor, direct motor drive, directly powered from solar. So when the sun shines, the motor goes much like the borehole pumps. But this is for oil presses and all kinds of machines that you have in the village that you use for production, like pellet making and that kind of stuff, hammer mills and things. So those are the big ones. So it's cooling, it's driving machines that you can do all kinds of things with them, and just direct from solar without battery packs.
What I'm learning again is energy is a limited resource. We are all taught like put on the switch and electricity is there and it is always there. But it's only there for people who are first of all connected to the grid and secondly have the money to pay for. having electricity centrally supplied all the time. When you consider going renewable in one way or the other, you have to consider how many kilowatt hours will I need and then invest accordingly. And that is actually the big switch people have to do. Now, since this is also a promotional event, I have my own interests. I'm building energy efficient houses. They can also be made energy autonomous. We offer a solar powered floor heating system where you heat up water with the power of the sun, and you have a solar pump that brings your concrete floor to 36 degrees. Takes about 2 to 3 days to warm up, and then you have a warm room all the time. And there is another system of air condition that does not need electricity, but it's too complicated to explain right now. So I'm just mentioning it because solutions are there. We don't have to wait for anything. We can just go around this wonderful expo and look at what all is offered, and we find solutions to master let's say, an average middle-class, comfortable life and lifestyle based on sustainable, renewable resources. And that, I think, that is really the revolutionary message that we can learn from this market. Konrad.
Yes, I just want to add an Olusheno system is a productive system, because the people produce their own energy for their lights and so on. But energy, like Harald mentioned, is the same like education. What means education if you don't have a job? And because Eki asked, you need to be somehow productive to pay for modern energy services. And my question goes to Ferris. When you buy your units, is there a golden end that at the end you own the system, or will it stay always a fee-for-service system forever? Yeah.
Okay. Now we do have a certain amount. For example, the D100, it's 4,700. So if you pay it off, then you're done. You have 1 year to pay it off.
Or you can buy it at once.
You can buy it at once also. Exactly, which is cheap if you buy it cash, which is 2.5. Very cheap. You save 2.2. So then you only work on your 2 years warranty. Yeah.
Yes, you have always to calculate energy per time. You know, many people, including ministers, do the mistake to say, oh, now we have 200 megawatts here and megawatts there, and we replace so and so much. Energy is, capacity is what you can possibly generate for a moment. And energy is of how long time can you maintain that provision of energy. So that's the difference between kilowatt and kilowatt hours, or megawatt capacity and megawatt hours of energy supply. There was one more comment, right?
So for Imo and Ferris, the system that you have here, the price then is 2,200 if you pay it off once. At the coastal regions, say for instance, Swakop and Enties and Walvis, are those efficient, and is there enough sun to power that system, for instance, at the coastal regions?
Yes, indeed. So we have a lot of customers at the coast. The spec of the system is made for Kenya-type countries, and they have a lot of cloud cover. So we actually have 30% more irradiation here in Windhoek than what they have in Kenya. The coast is more or less the same. So customers have enough capacity throughout the day. I think the key part is that I want to mention here is you will see our panel is very small. It's like an A4 page. It's only a 9-watt panel. Now, 9 watt is nothing. The important part is in the technology that's in the controllers and in the battery. Everything is hyper efficient. So we need a small panel, we need a small battery, because our lamps are hyper efficient. The lamp, we don't think in megawatts and in watts. We think in lumens output per hour. And in that, if you compare our system to any other on the market, you would probably have a system that's double as big for the same light output that you need. If you go to the permaculture stand where Grant is and where you're based, everybody please have a look. We have a TV there. So it's a 32-inch TV, and it's run from a battery pack that is this big. We call it the X1000, it's the biggest system. That TV is 10x as efficient as any other TV you find on the market. So the idea is you buy, and the TV is not cheap. It's quite expensive, but if you buy that TV, you don't need the massive battery pack, you don't need the massive solar panels. So that's the idea that we come from. We come from hyper energy efficiency, then you need less battery packs, less solar, which brings the overall cost down quite a bit.
That's what I like, and I like the line of thought. If you think electricity is generated somewhere, and then it goes via a complicated distribution system, and then it has a certain effect in your house or in your business or whatever. But what those people are doing is they actually start the other way around. They start on the point where the service is needed, be it light, be it TV, be it whatever, and then they go backwards and say, how much energy do we really need? And how much money do we need to invest in the capacity to generate that energy so that we get the service? And I'd like to repeat myself. Over the last few centuries of industrialization, energy was always a top-down approach, coming with a big power with a capital P. And you had to pay whatever they were asking you. Or have you ever had the opportunity to discuss with your electricity supplier and say, no, now it's really too much. No, it's too, I cannot pay that anymore. They send you an invoice and you have exactly two choices. Either you pay or you close shop. That's it. And what we are doing here is we are revolutionizing that top-down approach. We can tell them now, with the help of Olosheno and Emo Electromobility and everything else that has been presented here, we can tell them, guys, if you don't supply us the service that we want for a price that we can and want to afford, we will say thank you, but thank you no. Please don't forget your side cutter when you come next time. Clap, clap, and switch off your services. It's not what I want, but it is something that we can negotiate now from, because all this new technology enables us. The general grid is just one service provider. We can now get the same service for the equal or even better price from other sources. Just walk around the whole Expo, you will find solutions for whatever you would like to have. So they must really pull up their socks to live up to the standards that the participants of this Expo are setting. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like very much to thank you for coming. If there are more questions or more ideas you would like to contribute to, here you have your panel. You have Ferris, you have Penny, you have Kobus, you have Konrad, you have Imo, myself is also there. So please come to our stands and discuss what else you would like to discuss. And also help us to improve, because critical questions actually are the ones that make us learn. It's also nice if somebody claps our shoulders. We have had that many times. Thank you very much. Very good. But it's even better if you give us a question which is a bit tricky and which we have not yet found an answer for. So that will enable us to, for the next presentation, be even better, even more to the point than we have been today. Thank you very much. Thank you also, Karen, especially. She was very, very perfect and functional and detailed to prepare all this. So we all knew exactly what to do and what not to do. So Karen, give Karen an extra round of applause. Without her, this wouldn't have happened.